Oh, it's Miss Sisyphus. That's less suspicious.
Hello and welcome to the Drunkduck Patreon. Patreon is not Patreon. It's our QUACKCAST, QUACKCAST, and it's QUACKCAST number 555, which is quite an auspicious number. So anyway, this is Ozone Ocean here. There's also Tance and Baines. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
So we're all together today for the QUACKCAST. Pitface was on our Patreon video, and we're actually going to have our Patreon video open to everyone this week. So even non-patrons can have a look. If you go over to if you go onto our Patreon account, you can see the video of us in our gorgeous outfits. So
Yes.
go over there, have a look at us in our outfits. The Patreon link should be in the QUACKCAST notes, so you can just click on there and see us. So we'll be talking about our outfits. That's what we'll chat about. Today in the QUACKCAST, we're going to chat about group shots, because Baines did a great news post on Thursday about horror group shots. And, well, we're going to just expand it to group shots in general, because I love a good group shot, and I love drawing with them, and they're great in comics. So not just in movies, it's a fun thing. So that's what we're going to talk about. Before we get into that, got to bring up the featured comic. So this week, I featured a great little comic called Miss Sisyphus. Miss Sisyphus. So I'm going to talk about that. Hello, I'm Ozone Ocean, and my feature for the week was Miss Sisyphus. Astrid is a young woman living in Glasgow with her mum. She is a pretty solitary person with no friends or connections. She takes solace and pleasure in the fantastical worlds of the comics she delves into and lives through, becoming the heroine in the stories, a space explorer, last living human in the universe, a pirate queen of the Russ. But the real world still exists around her. Will something or someone manage to draw her out of her escapism? The art is highly stylized, full color and digital, and very good looking, working well with the style of the story, Astrid's personality and outlook. The story is a slice of life, reality and drama mixed with sci-fi, action, historical fiction, and more as we weave seamlessly into the worlds of Astrid's comics and imaginings. Beware, there's some mild nudity and implied sex. So, yes, some mild adult content there, but not enough for an adult rating. This is a comic by Sinister Dark. It's rated M for mature, because it's quite a mature comic. It's a really fascinating, fun story, because we are learning about Astrid and the way she thinks, and really getting inside her head, rather than the story of the world, which is, it makes it a very internal story, because even though there are stories of the comics that she gets into, and we are expanding, slipping seamlessly into a fantasy story or a sci-fi story, this is still a story that's taking place inside Astrid's head, and it's the way she thinks about the world, which makes it more enlightening, and we learn more about the character this way, rather than like an overall plot. Although there is an overall plot, as she is doing things in the real world, and, you know, meeting people and going to her job and things like that. So you can see as it develops. And this is a very interesting comic. It's updating quite frequently. So I hope you get into it. And as I said, this comic is called Miss Sisyphus, and it's by Sinister Dark. Okay. Bye. And that was the featured comic, Miss Sisyphus. Less suspicious, eh, Baines? Okay, so, next up, the featured music. Bottomless has given us a theme to a comic called Superstar Sparky. Happy, easygoing, old-fashioned organ notes grooving along on a warm summer's day. Not a care in the world. Synthesized trumpets step in and raise the level, promising big things, fun, sun, and good times. Take it away, Gumwalls, with Superstar Sparky. And that was our featured music, Superstar Sparky, which is a comic by Jamanning7. And it's rated E for everyone, so you can all have a look at that. Okay, so next up, we have our discussion about group shots. Group shots. Which, group shots doesn't mean you get people together and shoot them. No, that's quite awful, and we don't condone that at all. It means we're taking a still image. Well, not a still image. It's like, it's a group image of a bunch of people. So you, like a group shot. Bames, you describe it. Well, what is the purpose of a group shot? How does it work?
So I was talking about specific ones that really stood out. And of course, I talked about some particular horror group shots in the news post, but they cross into any genre, of course. So it's a really striking image that expresses something, or I mean, at least my sort of idea there, my notion was that it expresses something like the vibe of the story you're telling, of the series in question, the movie, whatever. It expresses some kind of essence, like the sort of emotion or the vibe or the feel of the movie. Like I talk about the Friday the 13th Part 2 campfire scene, where the head counselor talks about the legend of Mrs. Voorhees and of Jason. Mm-hmm. And in a very creepy way. It's a great scene, and they reused it in a couple of movies when they were doing the beginning of a couple of Friday the 13th sequels. They felt the need to explain to the audience the complicated story of what was going on, a dude killing people. But anyway, they would use that scene over and over again, and they used a version of it in the remake even. But in Part 2, it's a great scene. It's very powerful, very memorable. A still camera maybe, or slightly pushing in. And it really captures it's maybe the creepiest scene in the movie, you know, and there's no Jason, nobody dies, like it's just the guy talking about the legend. And the other one is the movie Return of the Living Dead that we watched last week, the pan, which is one of my favorite shots. I always get like really excited when I see the panning shot of the group of punks walking down the sidewalk. It's the introduction to the punks. And they're kind of back and forth, like, oh, what are we going to do? How about we go find Freddy? He knows where, a place to party. And it's kind of like quick back and forth dialogue. It was like, punk music playing in the background. And it's like, even though it's just a simple camera panning across a sidewalk as they walk, it's like really exciting somehow.
Yeah.
So
It's freaking cool.
Yeah.
You almost
So
want
my
to be
basic
one of them.
my basic hypothesis was that like these group shots are not really for character development, but they can sort of capture like a core vibe of a story, whether it's a comic or a movie or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I was saying to you, like before we did this cast, like some of my favorite drawings for Bottomless Waitress were the group shots that I would do, and I did those like as intros for the first few pages of the comic were group shots of the characters together, which was fun.
Yeah.
There's a whole the first and one of the initial pages is like an ensemble cast kind of thing with all the characters in a side view of the diner, all together doing various diner things, and there's another one of just three main waitress characters all together. And even when we had a long hiatus, I came back with one of the big panels in that is just a group shot of all three characters together, and I just love doing that. It's just like the feeling it gives, it expresses is like the solidarity of the cast all together. Here they are, and doing their own thing. They're presenting them. I'm presenting them all together. These are the people who represent the comic, and they're ready for business. All of them in their own ways, and they all come together to be Bottomless Waitress. So yeah, I love it.
Exactly.
Especially in that
when they all combine together to become super bottomless waitress. Well, that's a spoiler alert. Never mind. We won't go into that.
Precisely. But yeah, in that the early one where I showed the diner side on and the characters all standing doing their thing, that's a way of showing, okay, so this character does this character does that, this character does, and there's like, is there a hidden relationship between these two characters and these characters? And that's what you can do with group shots. You can sort of introduce some subtle hints towards the group dynamic and what the characters, how they interact with each other, and suggest relationships, which is that's definitely another fun thing which you actually see in some openings for shows like anime. Often they will do that. Like it's like a group shot in that you introduce the cast in a very quick kind of flashy way with music and stuff, but you hint at personality, you hint at character relationship, things like that in a very kind of fast shorthand way, which I think is cool. And you see it in film as well, like Reservoir Dogs we talked about with the what was it, the little green bag, the music there.
Yeah, they play the song "Little Green Bag," and as all the dudes in shades and suits kind
matching
of walk
suits
down the road in a hip way. Yeah, the matching suits. Yeah,
it's so cool. Which would be, it's slightly slow motion, I think, from memory.
Yeah.
Which, that kind of walking is not cool or interesting at all when it's normal speed. But slow motion, it just adds so much coolness to it. And you do kind of get hints of, like, character relationships, or the at least the feeling that the director wants to like project, wants to sort of give you the feeling of the character of the characters and the character of the film. This is going to be cool, it's going to be slightly noir, there's a threat to the characters. There's the cool music is something that will repeat throughout the film. Not that music itself, but the use of cool music to emphasize, or at least to give a coolness to scenes that it's like contrasts with the action that's happening, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's another great example. But Tance, have you got a good example of a group shot you can think of?
I'm trying very hard. I guess in the Goonies,
Oh.
if you remember, there is a group shot of the kids like embarking, if I remember right, because I haven't seen it in like decades. But I remember that there is a group shot of the kids, I think about to find the pirate ship or, around there. And you can see how they are good together, that there is a clear representation of the relationship and who is minding who is the couple, who are the little, rascals in the situation, and I really like that. Like I remember it at least. So that's the one that comes to mind after thinking very hard. On the other side, I would say that there are a lot of group shots that are more for poster reasons rather than actually to convey how these characters work together. And I see it a lot in Marvel movies. Like they are posed very nicely, aesthetically, but they don't necessarily give you any hints or messages or about this character's connection as a group with each other. And yeah.
Yeah, they don't necessarily, and that definitely like applies to the world of comics, with covers, and pinups, and backup features that people do. We do on Patreon, or not we. I don't have Patreon. But people do on Patreon or in our comics, having like pinups of characters, and I draw my characters that way so much. Not that I post it, but I habitually draw like groups of characters and like a pinup, like looking into the camera. Because I don't know why, but it just constantly draw stuff like that.
It's fucking fun. It's fun to do that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I usually draw them, off hours without moonlight for me, especially in the Drunkduck Awards, taking selfies. Posh clothing.
Yeah, that's great.
And I love that. I love the group selfie Oscar. So.
Group selfies, yeah. See, this is something people do in real life before, just not like and as a narcissistic thing, but is like, if you get a group of people together who work together or they're friends and they do a group selfie, and this expresses a kind of unity, like, we are, one for all and all for one sort of thing. That's what that kind of group shot represents. And, this is a memory where we can all remember ourselves together, being together in this moment, capture this point in time. So they're valuable even for people in real life, which is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I can be convinced to be in a group selfie a lot more than I can be convinced to have my picture taken. For that reason.
It's fun.
Because I generally feel that I am not photogenic at all, but I will be in a group selfie.
Sell yourself short.
Just for memory's sake, like as a memento.
Well, actually, going back to drawing, when we did our plays, when we could be bothered writing those and acting those, I used to love doing group shots of the characters together who are in there. So the first few ones I did were for the sci-fi ones, because Baines and I just did like little sci-fi stories. And so I did Heroic Ozone and Baines and Mushroom People, or this Betty Page character, all together, and that was great fun. And then I expanded and I did like a Heroic Baines instead, and a crappy Ozone Ocean kind of character, so I reversed those roles. But then I did Bones, Basil, Bombshell in the background, so I did a group shot of these characters, which, they're not together in a story, but they are like the characters of the people who are like guesting on the QUACKCAST at that stage. So they were all together, which was cool. And then we did this great big play with all of us, Pitface, Tarns, Abbott Nahil, Baines and I together. And then I did everybody represented as these characters all together in this
I remember.
weird group shot. It was so cool. And
I
then
remember I was doing the only accent I know how to do, which is the Russian one.
the Russian character. And I did the relationships there. So I got like because Chance and Abbott Nihil were together like as this weird alien couple. And so I got Chance and Abbott Nihil together, their characters sort of arm in arm, and Ozone Ocean and Pitface together weirdly. I don't think there's much relationship there, but I just wanted these characters together. And then there's Baines and Baines is two characters. Baines, whatever, like space alien Baines, space astronaut Baines, and Hayseed Baines. So Hayseed Baines was doing his thing.
Uncle Hastings, I remember now.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly right. And yeah, he's doing his like little dancing a jig or throwing his arms up, because he got like this the award for the Probulation Award, I think.
I remember like released the problem. That's so silly. Oh my god.
Why would we ever come up with something like that? The Probe Award. I mean, just like, yeah.
Because also you were part of the creative process. That's why.
It was just, yeah, bizarre. It was such great fun. But yeah, so that was a freaking fantastic group shot to do. I can't wait to do more.
Yeah.
This is the joy about group shots. It's one of the problems is you can't really do a group shot if you've only got one main character. So or limited amount of main characters. But if you have an ensemble cast, then you can, and it opens it up to that. Like Pinky TA really doesn't offer itself much up to group shots. So there are like just aren't enough main characters, but I do them just for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, have you done Without Moonlight in a group shot yet, Thomas?
Well, there is the cover page that I hate now. It has a group shot of all the start pack of Greeks. So it has the kids. It has the kids and Basil. And I did that on purpose because I was paying tribute to an actual historical photo of lepers, and I wanted. I know, like I knew that if a Greek person saw this cover, they would immediately, get an idea of what this was probably about. So it was a little like a little nugget of a wink wink. So other than that, I have had some group shots. Not, I don't know if you could say that they are on purpose, but I usually they are when I use them when I want to display like the dynamics between certain people, and they are not like a group shot for a photo. They are simply like for example, there is this one frame when Diomedes goes in to tell the news about Arthur, and that they have this pet Nazi in the church. And the door opens to this dining room, basically, where all the Greeks from the different partisan groups are, like the representatives from the different partisan groups are. So you have Orestes and Martha, and then you have Costas and Demi, who was the cameo of Pitface, for being my top tier patron at the time. So, but the character was supposed to be there anyway. I mean, so and they are all together in this group shot around the table, and their body language shows exactly what each of them is thinking at the time. Oh, and there's also photos there as well. So I use group shots basically to telegraph that, okay, this is who is fighting whom and who has had enough, or this is how these people have been hiking across Greece, and so on and so forth. So that's how, but not very many times. I mean, usually I have groups of 2 or 3 people, not the entire, like not more than that.
Yeah.
Usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same here. It'll usually be 2 or 3. Only rarely would it be the whole. I have a main cast of 6. Very rare. It would be everyone. Once in a while, it's nice to try to get everybody into one panel, just because like they're all the main characters.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not something you can do a lot because it wouldn't have its effectiveness. It would be just stupid if you're doing it all the time. Just would. But if you do it
rarely, on the eye.
If you do a big group shot rarely, then that's super effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge statement. It's funny, in films that's usually done towards the beginning often. I mean, it's done for pivotal scenes. So you could, well, no, I mean, if it's done in the beginning, it's not a pivotal scene. It's just an intro. But if it's done like in the middle of a film, I suppose it would be a statement. And you probably wouldn't do it in the middle. You probably do it at the climax, I suppose. Like it would be.
Yeah, I like how was it called? After Thanos, the next movie.
I was thinking.
Endgame.
Yes, thank you. Endgame, where it looks like they are losing, and then all the portals open, and everyone comes. Like everyone.
Right. Yeah. That's it. Massive group shot.
Yeah, you don't get more group shot than that.
No.
Sort of a homage. I'll go on time. Sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say it's a direct homage to the comics when they did that special event thing, and they drew as many comic characters as they could, didn't they? It's like one of these a 2-page kind of spread sort of thing, or a cover wraparound kind of thing. And that's what they were kind of referencing. Is that right, Baines?
I'm not sure. I didn't read the Infinity War comics. But I mean, definitely superhero comics are full of the kind of big, spectacular group images.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, I mean, a group shot is basically like a splash frame, like a splash page. It can be an establishing shot for what is going to come after. Then you don't need to draw the crowd again, basically. You can just strategically show a few people from that crowd, because you do have now like this establishing shot in the reader's mind. So you can surreptitiously skip the work.
Here's the team. Yeah, it's just like establishing a set. And you don't have to do it in every panel or on every page. Same thing here. You could be like, here's the group of characters. No, you don't have to show everybody on every panel.
Yeah, that's a damn good point. And now thinking back on that, I think I might have done that in my Pinky TA 6, my favorite chapter, where I've got like Pinky and Betty, Colin, and some other character. I forgot his name. All together. Like, so I must have had an establishing shot for that one. I'm just going to try and find it to jog my little memory.
Like I remember doing it exactly for that purpose in that scene with all the different partisans with the different politics in the same room for the first time. So the reason for that was I wanted to show where everyone was seated at the table and also where everyone stood, via body language in the sense that, okay, this one has had enough, this one is aggressive, this other one is basically would like to have words outside and so on. And then I never had to draw them all together again. Like I could just have portrait shots of it sitting at the table doing their thing. And
Right.
it worked because you had in mind how this table was in a sense. So.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
such a good idea.
I mean, it also takes longer to look at, for the reader. So, like in comics where there is no literal time. Somebody can read it as quickly or slowly as they read it. You do those group shots, and it's like, okay, it takes longer to take everything in, so it can sort of express a significance in some way. Like okay, it takes I got to take more time on this panel, so it sort of feels. And it's all about context and how you draw it too.
Yeah.
But it can feel like, okay, this feels more important because you're kind of forced to spend more time.
Yeah, exactly.
I just had a quick look at Pinky Tail 6, and there's no initial establishing group shot, but there's 60 million group shots in this comic of the characters together. I was just going for it when I did that. It's like, okay, another page with a group, another page. So everything I was saying, it's only effective if you only do it occasionally, save it. That's just all bullshit, because I did that all the time, and it's the best. So I'm the king of the group shot, baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
Labor intensive.
I'm the king.
I remember a lot of group shots in that whole sequence with the tromper display that you had.
Oh, yeah. It's my latest work, yeah.
Yeah. And I was basically amazed that you would do that so frequently. But it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, they look great.
No complaints.
Oh, yeah. That's the freaking meeting, yeah. Oh, yeah, I had the Tarn Space character in that one. My Tarn and Pitface cameo.
I think you also had Basti with Artsiger.
Yeah, shit, yeah. Yeah, I've got cameos galore in this freaking comic. I should get back in. I haven't done a page for a year.
I'm the same. I'm pretty close, I think. Maybe not a year, but close enough.
Wow.
Oh, it's horrible.
We manage a comic site, and yet we don't do freaking comics.
It's ridiculous.
Well, doing group shots will bring us back into it. That's your homework. Group shots.
Hey, yeah, do a group shot.
Group. I'm gonna do one for Bottomless Waitress. Actually, at the moment, my my current art project is there's this board game called Strategio, and it's based on a Napoleonic War kind of situation, but it's a board game. And all these characters are based on different kinds of Napoleonic units. So what I'm doing is drawing Napoleonic characters that are represented by these game pieces, as actual kind of characters. So I've got a hussar, and I've got a Polish lancer so far. And that's a lot of fun for me to do these characters. But maybe I will have a bit of a segue and I'll do Bottomless Waitress group shot. Maybe that will be my thing. Maybe. I like it. I think I'm going to do that now. I don't think I'm going to do it. I am going to do that, I swear. Group shots. Well, that's another thing about doing group shots. It can revitalize your creative flow. So if you've got a bit of if you've got a bit of like an artist block or whatever, or a bit of like, oh, I really don't know what I'm going to do next, just doing a group shot can revitalize you, because not only are you sort of having fun drawing the characters together, you're also, doing that little bit of a hint of a story and a relationship between the characters in the way you choose to depict them in a group shot. So that can give you a bit of a shot in the arm and, go point you towards where you're going to go next. Give you a bit of a creative fuel, a creative boost.
Yeah.
So, Baines, you were talking about that you would do group shots that you wouldn't post. You would just do them for fun because you love doing them.
Yeah, I would draw them regularly. And even like lately getting into 3D, like I have so many like new characters, and my other characters from my Chatterbox comic which only has 2 main characters. So many pinups of them looking into the camera, but then like so many pinup posters of like new characters looking into the camera. That's not as handy if you're just starting with that and you have nothing established. It's like, okay, so who are these people?
But it's just so freaking fun. You just don't care.
It's very fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's like, no context, just, I don't care, I love it. Well, it's like, I brought up the idea of anime, how they have these characters were kind of represented with these in the beginning of the show. But it is like that, in that, like, when you initially watch this damn thing, you think, I don't know who any of these characters are, I don't know what relationship they have with each other, I've just seen them in the beginning, and I'm interested to see what relationship they have, and I would like to see more of them, but I just don't know. They're just being introduced to me in a fun, exciting way. And so it's fun to see them. And it's obviously the creators who create those intros do it because they love introducing characters that way. So freaking hell, it's glorious. I'm trying to think of more film examples. Well, you brought up, Endgame, I think it was. Is that right? I'm sort of thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't they have like a group shot in the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy film? And you see them all like fighting against not Thanos, but whoever that guy is with the hood and everything.
Yeah, where they're in a circle, I think, roughly in a circle, fighting the villain. They also have a police lineup that's very much like the old Usual Suspects movie, earlier in the movie.
Awesome reference,
I think also, yeah. I think that was also like in the promo material.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like.
Yeah.
That's now become iconic because of the Usual Suspects, where it was used so well.
Yeah.
But the Usual Suspects is excellent for that, because you don't know who the villain is in that film, and you're being introduced the characters in a lineup, and they use that lineup to express character traits and give you a shorthand of how each of these characters is, which pays off throughout that film in such a wonderful way that it's so pivotal. And like I say, it made the poster, it made all the promo material, because it not only expresses, not only introduces the character in a way that pays off, but it's also like it is a titular kind of image, because that's what Usual Suspects are. They are people in a police lineup.
Like, career criminals in a police line, like, round up the usual suspects.
Precisely. So,
Saying goes, it's working.
I remember a group shot now, like I'm going back to webcomics. In one round of the Drunkduck awards for your consideration pages, Bigface did an excellent group shot of the Putrid Meat cast. and it was as if you were on your back, looking up, and they were all bending over you threateningly. And it was like Bones was holding a rope, I think, and I don't remember what everyone else was doing, but it was extremely fitting for each of the characters to be doing whatever they were doing and to be standing where they were standing, and it was really iconic.
That's
I remember it
interesting.
even now.
Now you're saying that, I think that probably would have been a homage to like a heavy metal cover, perhaps, like a cover of a heavy metal album. And now the like band promo shots are the group shot. Like they literally are group shots. That's how they're used to represent a group of people, and often, you know, they show personality and they show relationships, and that is where it is commonly used, probably used more in the music industry than anywhere else, in any other genre, any other field. That's interesting to think about. Yeah, that's used to sell a band, used to introduce them. And it's often, the funny thing about those group shots for bands is they almost always try to look cool, or try to look grumpy, or, you know, like intense. And you think, yeah, you guys are a bunch of idiots. You know, you're not that cool. You're just doing that for this image, and it's silly. It's just so contrived. But you give them a bit of leeway there, because it's their group shot, it's their promo, so that they can have that moment. But that is interesting to think about. That is, group shots is for music. So, all right. That said, what are your favorite group shots of bands? Do you have any at all?
There is this one of Black Sabbath, where they are all posing with a lot of bling and. Okay, I know that's not very specific, but I think Black Sabbath has the best ones that I have seen.
Like, thinking of really good group shots that aren't just cheesy things of people all looking like grumpy faces or having their arms crossed or something, like a modern heavy metal bands. But no, I'm not saying that Black Sabbath's one is. That I'm saying like modern ones. Fleetwood Mac Rumors, I think that is an awesome group shot. It's either Rumors or the self-titled one. It's got them all sort of together on a white background. They're very thin and willowy, and they're all dressed up in these weird costumes. And that there tends to express some kind of weird relationship between these characters. And it's intriguing. It makes you want to find out more. It makes you want to listen to the music. I mean, not that Fleetwood Mac is that deep, but for me, when I first saw that as a child, I found that quite intriguing. I'm gonna have to look that up now to see if I'm not talking out of my bum. So, what about you, Bones?
I was trying to think of any. I mean, the ones that like sort of left a lifelong impression on me because I saw them as a kid and had the albums would be probably Kiss. Yeah, I'll say with embarrassment. Like Kiss Destroyer, Kiss.
Oh, right.
Is it Dressed to Kill? The one where they're all in suits, like they're in their makeup and everything, but they're wearing like suits and ties.
That's a nice contrast. They're
just pin-up shots of the four of them together. Yeah, those ones made an impression. They look like sort of monster superhero things. Nothing that I saw in later life really sticks with me. In that realm, anyway.
there's the classic Beatles, like Abbey Road. So when you come to that one, it's like
crossing the street there.
That's very, because they're all like doing the same walking pose, but the differences between them are the different outfits they're wearing. Of course, I think Paul's got no shoes on, all this kind of thing. Like what you're talking about, Baines, is that they're wearing suits, but they're looking a bit crazy with their hair and their like stuff like that. So it's a nice contrast. So yeah, that's an iconic group shot. And then we've got like Sgt. Pepper's, which is one of the most iconic group shots, because not only have you got the 4 band members, but you've got all these other weird things happening in the background as well. All these cutout pictures or real people or whatever. I don't know. There's got a whole heap of crap in there. But yeah, that's another super iconic one. Jeez, I can't think of any more for some reason. I'm just like you guys, I'm drawing a blank.
I should give a shout out to Gru. We used to read Gru comics sometimes. Gru the Wanderer. Oh. He was a comedic barbarian. Drawn by, is it Sergio Aragonés?
Yes.
I don't know how to say his last name. But Gru the Wanderer. He would have these comedic adventures, cause all kinds of chaos.
Oh, yes.
And he's a ferocious warrior. And the last page of his adventures would always be a big splash page of Gru walking away, about to be ambushed by everyone he'd wronged throughout the comic. They're all waiting to attack him. Hiding from him, and he's just about to walk into it. And that's how they would end.
Beautiful. Yeah, fantastic Mad Magazine artist, that Sergio.
Of course, yeah.
Speaking of that, Asterix.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The group shots at the end when they have their famous banquet and they're all eating roast wild boar, and everybody is like enjoying the banquet, and the bard is hanging from a tree. Tied up in a tree, yeah. Which, Baines, your Gru thing reminded me of that. That is always the end of an Asterix comic. Was the
right,
the joyous banquet. Oh, what Google's telling us that we are ending. So it's been a great QUACKCAST. Bye bye, everyone.
Yes.
QUACKCAST 555. Have a look at the Patreon video where you can see us, and it's all free. Bye.
Happy.